Yes, good morning, students. In the last session, in the last videos, we discussed about illumination. What is illumination? Different definitions of illuminations, laws of illuminations, and some of the problems and laws of illuminations. Okay. So in this session, we'll discuss about types of lamps used in illumination purpose, and for the different illumination purpose, what type of lamps are used, and what are the advantages of that lamp, and what are the applications of what are the advantages, and what are the life of that particular lamps, and many more things we'll discuss in this session. Okay, so that's laws of illumination. We have solved some of the problems, so it's very important. You may get some of the questions on the laws of illumination. So simple problems, but you have to answer. Okay, so in types of lights, we have various types of lights. We have various sources of light. So first and natural source of light is the sun is a natural source of light energy which emits the radiation of light. Okay, in addition to this natural source, so we are depending upon the artificial sources of light also. So there are various sources of lights we are having, but different types of lamps which we are going to study here in this module is incandescent lamp, discharge lamps. There are two types of lamps we are going to study here. So first one is the incandescent lamp. So this is a the conventional lamp which is used since from the last few decades ago. Okay, so initially they used to use this type of the lamps. Then the discharge lamps are comes into existence. Then in discharge lamp we have a fluorescent lamp, sodium vapor lamp, mercury vapor lamp, and many more. So now, based on the applications, based on their what we can say life of the lamps, so now we are using LEDs. So the energy consumption, energy consumption, and the light of this LED will be almost similar to the daylight. That is why nowadays we are using the LED lamps. Okay, so now we'll discuss one by one type of the lamps. So old types of the lamps you can see in the figure, they used to have a kerosene lamps for the getting the lights, for getting their light, for getting their area gets illuminated. They used to have a kerosene lamps. Okay, in earlier days. So these kerosene lamps are replaced by some of the incandescent lamps. So first they started with the kerosene lamps to illuminate the particular area, then comes the incandescent lamps, and then comes the fluorescent lamp, your discharge lamps, LED lamps, okay, many more. So this is the conventional types of lamps which are used to illuminate the surfaces during the good old days. Okay, now the different types of lamps we start. So incandescent lamp. So incandescent lamp, as you all know that incandescent lamp. So this is the incandescent lamp which is everyone have seen. So the incandescent lamp here, this is your incandescent lamp. So which consisting of what happens, the glass, outer layer of the glass, so outer layer of the glass, and the hot wire, or you can say it's a filament. So usually the tungsten filament is used in the incandescent lamps. So the glass is made up of with a low grade glass. Okay, so it's not that any higher version of glass, it's a low grade glass is used to make a outer layer of the bulb. Okay, so hot wire, it is also called as a filament is made of the uh, tungsten material. So the electric current pass through the wire heats the incandescent. That is a, so when you pass the electric current through that particular filament, it will heat up and produces the radiations. So that radiated energy will be illuminating the gives the illuminations on the surfaces. Okay, and the wire emits the light. So use the standard voltage circuit. So that means, so whenever you give the supply voltage to that particular filaments heats up. So once the filament is heated, it will emit the radiations. Okay, that is the function of incandescent lamp. So inside this gas, then argon or nitrogen gas is filled here. So as I said, tungsten is a filament. So this bulb consisting internally argon or a nitrogen as a gas. Okay, so which will, what we can say, which will improves the illumination strength. So that is why argon or a nitrogen gas is used here. So at the center of the lamp is tungsten filament, as I said. So the center of the, this is your tungsten filament. So this is your tungsten filament. So electricity hits the filament up to 2500 degrees Celsius. When you give the supply voltage to this particular filament, so which will heats the filament by 2500 degrees. That means the temperature of that filament will be rises up to 2500 degrees Celsius, and the light is up to 15 lumens per watt is emitted. So by this incandescent, the 15 lumens per watt of light is emitted. So the operating life of this particular is 1000 hours. So if you continuously turn it on for 1000 hours, it will be withstanding. The operating hours is, it may be varies, but the operating life of this particular incandescent lamp is 1000 hours. So the efficiency is increased by using the coil. So filament, the filament, the straight filaments we have, coil to coil filaments we have. So different type, if you are using the different filaments for the lamp, so then the efficiency can be improved. Okay, this is about the incandescent lamp. So parts of, if you are talking about the parts of incandescent lamp, it has a glass bulb, glass tube, so which is the outer layer. First one is a glass bulb, so which is the outer layer, which is made up of by the low grade glass material. So second one is, the second indicates the vacuum or a gas filled here. Inside that, the numbering, we have given the numbering to the different lamps here. So first is a glass bulb, the second is a vacuum or a gas filled, third one is the wire or a filament, that is a tungsten we are using. So vacuum, as I said, nitrogen or the tungsten, nitrogen or argon gas is used here. So wire is a tungsten filament, and the fifth one is the lead in wire, so which will be supporting, which will gives the supply to that particular filament. So sixth is a six, where is six? So six is your support wire to that filament, and seven is the neck. Okay, seven is 8 11 are the electric fuse. So 8 and 11, so 8 11 they are the electric fuse connections. Then 9 is a base, so 9 is base, and 10 is a the outer layer to hold that particular glass. Okay, these are the some of the parts of this one. So working principle, when the supply voltage is given to that particular filaments, the filaments heats up, so which will radiate the energy. So that radiated energy, due to the presence of the argon or nitrogen gas inside that bulb, which will gives the bright color of the light. So that is the working principle. So pros and cons, talking about the pros and cons of this incandescent lamp. So advantages, if you're talking about the advantages of incandescent lamps, so they are very less expensive. So less incandescent lamp are less expensive, then easier to dim with the rheostats. So we can very dim and dip with the, if you are using the rheostat, it's easy to make a dim and dip of this one. Okay, then warmer color than the fluorescent, tungsten and halogen lamps. So the color is a bit warmer, that means yellowish in nature, so it is not looks like a natural color. So warmer color, like your halogen fluorescent lamps. Okay, so the light output is relatively high, the output is relatively high, and can be dimmed and dipped by using the rheostat as well. So disadvantage is energy is efficient, it's not that much energy efficient, so it consumes some more amount of energy. Then the short lifetime of this particular incandescent lamp is very short. So whereas compared to the fluorescent and LED lamps, the lifespan is very less here. Then warm source, so it produces the very huge amount of the heat radiations. Okay, these are the some of the disadvantages of incandescent lamp. Next type is discharge lamps. Discharge type of the lamps. So as the name itself says, it will be discharge lamps. There is some electric discharges takes place in this particular case. So your discharged lamps are so to overcome the drawbacks of the incandescent lamps, so the discharge lamps are comes into existence. So the color of this discharge lamp is similar to that of the natural light. So light produced by the passage of the electric current through the vapor or a gas rather than through the tungsten wire. So in case of the incandescent lamp, there is a tungsten wire will be there. So whereas in case of discharge lamps, there is a tube, hollow tube, cylindrical tube of 1.5 meter in length and 0.5 or 0.2 diameter. So it has a tubes. So the vapor or a gas which is filled in the tube, so and both the sides of the tube is fitted with the electrode. So the energy radiation emitted from the electrode, which will pass through that particular tube, while passing through that gas, so which will radiate the heat, light energy. So that is called as your discharge. That is the functionality of the discharge lamps. You can see, so these are the some of the few of the examples of discharge lamps. You have a this one small which is used for the household application. So different size and different shapes of discharge lamps we are having in the markets. So the principle is, so the light is produced by passage of an electric current through the vapor. So by passing electric current through the vapor or a gas, the light is produced here. So rather than through the tungsten wire in the incandescent lamp. Incandescent lamp, you are passing the light through the tungsten wire to heat it up and produce the electricity, whereas you are passing the electric current through the vapors or the gases. Okay, so which is filled inside the tube. So it is called as a fluorescent or a discharge type of the lamps. You can see the schematic representation of the fluorescent lamp here. So which consisting of an electrode, just a minute. So fluorescent lamp which consisting of, and this is the electrode, so on both the sides of the tube. Okay, and then phosphorus coating. So phosphorus coating on the, this is phosphorus, this indicates the phosphorus coating. One side there is a phosphorus coating and other side say, so there is a argon gas is filled. So both the sides of the tube is phosphorus coated and it is filled with the argon gas. So these are the pins which is for the electric supply. So pin for the electric supply. So and some amount of mercury is also present in that particular tube. So switch is given. So let's take AC supply in this switch. So whenever the AC supply is given to, so the terminals of the electrodes, so when the switch is closed, so the electrode starts heats up and produces the electric current. So that current is passed through, so the current is produced here, that current is passed through this argon gas. Okay, so once the current is flowing through this vapors or gas, argon gas, so what happens then, the light is produced. Okay, that bright light is produced. So color of the light is white because the gas, argon gas and the phosphorus coating will be of white. So because of that, so heat energy is produced, which will in turn produce the light, so which will looks as a bright color. So this is just simple working principle. Instead of tungsten filament, instead of passing the current through the tungsten filaments, you are passing the current through the your this one. What is that? Passage. So that is the difference. So fluorescent lamps, so you can see inside the bulb they coated with the fluorescent powder. So as I said, fluorescent powder is coated. So the oxide coated tungsten filament is used at the electrodes. So both the side, the oxides coated tungsten filaments, so they are used as a electrodes in both the sides. Okay, so the light up to 70 lumens per, this will be emitting around 70 lumens per watts of the lights. So the average life of is this is 7500 hours. So whereas the previous this one, the life of that is 1000 hours, whereas the life of this tungsten, I mean fluorescent lamp is 7500 hours. Okay, so it is slightly more than the incandescent type of lamps. Okay, so if you're talking about the advantages and disadvantages of fluorescent lamps, so let me talk about the advantages. So the heat is relatively low here, whereas the incandescent lamps are a bit higher heat radiating type. So whereas this is a low heat radiating. Okay, so the relatively low heat radiations, okay, and energy efficiency, they consumes a less amount of energy compared to our incandescent lamp, right? Then the range from low grade to high grade. So you can get the low grade to high. The range of the lamps produced in case of fluorescent is ranges from low to high. So the long life lamps life is very much long compared to your incandescent lamp. So your incandescent lamp has up to 1000 hours, but it has 1500 to 8000 hours. So lifespan of this fluorescent lamp is higher than the your incandescent lamp. So usually cool source. So there is no in case of incandescent lamp it produces the heat radiations, but this is usually the cool source of the lamp. So it's a cool type. So there is no heat is produced in this case. So that is the advantages. So the disadvantages are, so the color and the temperature. So color is white. You cannot get the different colors of the lamps here. So requires the blast, so preheat or the instant start or rapid start. So any one type of the pre-starter is required. So requires electric blast or preheat or instant start or rapid start, any one is required for the starting of this particular lamps. So requires controlling of elements for a glare control. So there is a glare control elements are required in this particular case. Okay, so that is the this one disadvantages of fluorescent lamp. So next is sodium lamps, sodium vapor lamp. So another type of, so these fluorescent lamps are restricted for the what we can say, they are for the household applications. So